thank you for joining us at the Parent Partnership Podcast. We're excited to have Buddy and Jamisha Jenkins with us today.
Hola.
Crazy.
So
crazy.
You guys are newly married.
Yes.
When was the wedding?
November 4th.
He was like, I'm going to get it in there first.
That been months yesterday.
Because we were on another podcast with Pastor Cody and Mindy, and he was like, yeah, the 3rd. I didn't even correct him. I was like, yep.
Aw, that was sweet.
Well, because I always know it's either the 3rd or the 4th.
He's so bad with dates. I'm
dates.
like, whatever, it's fine.
So I will probably always remember at least around when your guys' wedding is because I had Calvin.
Oh, yeah.
Very close. It's the 6th.
Yeah.
So I was like real close.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you've been married 7 months then.
Yep.
Okay. How has it been?
It's been great.
Good.
Honestly, it's been great. That was actually what we did when we had Pastor Cody and Mindy's podcast we kind of talked about was
Like
kind of the first 7 months really. Haven't really been a year, but 7 months. And it's been great. You know, a lot of people say, you know, your first year is going to be terrible. It's going to be the worst ever. Da, 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 da. And we were just very thankful that we had people around us that told us, like, your first year doesn't have to be that. And it can be awesome. And you can enjoy it. And you can have fun. And that's exactly what it's been. So
that's awesome.
We have been loving it a lot.
I think we could preface just about everything with, like, we don't have to go off of what people say. Like, I think even in parenting, everyone's like, oh, you just wait, you know. That's like the state. You just wait till they're 2. You just wait till they're teenagers. You just wait. And it's like, well, you can have what you say. You know, there's there's life in our words, or there's death in our words. And so that can be in marriage and that can also be in parenting. So so today we're kind of focusing on like blended families. So these two are just newly married, but Jamisha has a wonderful son. How old?
He's 11 now.
11 now.
It makes me so sad.
I know, it goes by really quick.
It really does. It really does.
And that is true though. That's a saying that's so true. Because you're like, oh no, it does. It does go by really fast if you don't like focus and take things in. But so you've been married 7 months, and so you don't have any children.
I mean, currently I do, yeah. She's pregnant right now.
Right. That's awesome. Yes. So she 3 months, right?
3 months, yeah.
3 months pregnant. So we have one cooking.
Yes.
So outside the womb, would they have one together and then
I have one.
11. Right. So how has that been since you've been married? Now you're a blended family. How is that working?
Honestly, it's funny because people ask me that all the time. I'm like, he's so easy kid. Like, he's just chill, laid back.
He
just goes with the flow. I remember like when me and Buddy started dating, I was like, so are you feeling okay with this? And he's like, no, you're an adult, you make your decisions. And I'm like,
aww,
why are you so big? Don't talk to me like that. But he was just like so cool with it. So it's just been really easy, honestly. And it's funny because people are like, oh, like you're like when your first year, just wait to have kids. And I mean, we didn't really have that choice, but it's been so easy. I mean, there's challenges, but it's been like literally so easy.
So you like talk to him in the process of having a relationship before marriage. You kind of talk to him like, what do you think?
Like just to prepare him, because like I've been single pretty much his whole life. He's never seen me with anybody, so it's like at first he was like, I don't know how to feel about this guy coming around, and I'm just hugging him, and like he was a little jealous, but I mean it was like whatever, like okay.
How did you handle that jealousy? Because I think that like I've heard of that being like the big issue. So like, you know, all of a sudden this man comes in, and especially if you have a son, it's like that was my hug, you know, like, or well, no, this is our night to go out to dinner, or this is our thing. Like, how did you work that?
I think
out
really just keeping him involved, just like explaining, like, because he's older now, so it's like I can explain a lot of things. Like he's not here to like take over or like you know, take your place. Like he's just here to like help us grow and like lead us and like provide for us. But he's like, okay, like I like this guy, like he's pretty cool. And then ever since then he's like, oh, like he's like my best friend.
That's awesome.
So it's been pretty easy.
So leading up to that, how did you handle it? Like, if I'm sure you communicated like, oh, he's feeling jealous. So like, how do you Was there anything like you were like very specific or purposed on in that relationship with him before you guys got married?
Yeah. Coming from having a single mom, I can understand what that comes with you know, pretty much being with your mom, and it's really just been you never really seen your mom be with someone, and then when a guy just comes in, obviously you're protective of your mom. So I could understand that, because some people can come in and be like, oh, who is da 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 da. But it's like understanding, you know, it's very real and valid feelings, and very, very different. And like Misha said, we were very intentional all throughout dating, and then even all the way up to now, is that we're very open and very transparent with them, with everything. We talk about everything all the time. We are very we don't try to beat around the bush. We don't try to make it's hide stuff. It's like we're just very, very, hey, this is what it is. This is what it looks like. Yeah. And then and let them know it's like it's not about taking places. It's like we are allowing. With creating our family, we're allowing each person to step into their specific role.
Oh, I love that.
And it wasn't so where she was by herself. She had to be mom and dad. She had to be the fun parent and the disciplined parent. So it's like she wasn't able to just be mom, just be wife. Yeah. And then even with an absent parent, even being a kid, when you're a kid with a single parent, you have to kind of fill in certain type of places. You don't get to just be a kid. That's true. So it was like allowing, like I remember, so we do family dinner every night. So we sit down at the table, we eat dinner together.
Good. That's awesome.
So I remember some of our first conversation was like, in the house, we have roles. As a dad and as a husband, I have a specific role. As a mom and as a wife, she has a specific role. Even you, as a kid, you have a specific role. Yeah. And as long as everyone, you know, lives and does what they're supposed to do and plays their part, everything will be good. No one's is better than the other person. Yeah. No one is taking another person's spot. Things are unique to you, but that doesn't mean, you know, just because something is unique to me, that means you're not getting something or whatever. It's like allowing everyone to understand that no one's missed, no one's you know, no one's being forgotten, no one's being, you know, pushed to the side. It's like we're all coming in and allowing to kind of fill into our position, our natural position, natural role to what the family is.
That's awesome. That's true. So did you have like moments where you like, I'm guessing before you got married, you had moments where you're all together and you were able to build a relationship with him?
Yeah. We were intentional on like, you know, while we're dating, to date, have our specific days, the time we hang out, and then we're intentional. Okay, at least one time a week, we need to all go do something together. So whatever, go to the park or go see a movie, just hang out, even just at the house, watch a movie at the house, go out to eat, get ice cream, whatever it is. We're like intentional doing stuff together, because like she said, it's different where some people will go in and it's like, you know, people are like, oh, wait to have kids, just enjoy each other, but we're like, no, we get married. It's not like we could just get to do us and then eventually we get to him. But it's like, no, we have to realize, okay, not only are we newly married, but we're a newly family. Right. So it's like now we need to learn both. We're not only learning how to be married to each other, but also how to have a family. Because that's a whole nother dynamic where she's used to being a mom, but she's not used to being a mom with a dad in the house.
Yes, true.
So,
absolutely.
And it was like it's like a whole new learning dynamic. So it was good for us, and I'm very thankful that we also had leaders around us that we were able to start to learn those things in advance. Not that we would figure everything out, but it wasn't like going into being married, now we're trying to get started, but we're able to at least start to lay the foundation even beforehand.
Right. So how was it like, so let's talk about, you know, like if you're going to be a blended family, or you are a blended family, how was it for you? Because you're single, no children, no kids. And then you stepped into this role where it wasn't quite like, you know, when you see newly married people and they're like, oh, we can kind of just fly around and put our roots wherever we want. Like there was already roots that have been grown, and you kind of stepped in and like, okay, but now I've got to take care of this. And so how did you feel as like a single man going and stepping not only as husband, but more specifically like a father? Do you allow him to be a father in this sense, even though it's not his blood child? How do you how's that dynamic? How did you step into that role? Has he allowed you to step into that role?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So me, I understood, and that was also another dynamic where, you know, when people are first single, before they, especially in our case, right, is understanding like we don't just date this today. We date to marry. We're not dating for fun. We're not dating
that's really
cool.
important.
It's
to
like
know.
no, it's like you know, not that every time you date someone, you will be married, but it's like okay, the end goal, if it works out, if we, you know, we match, we really like each other, the end goal is to get married.
Right.
But another kicker for me was like, I'm not only marrying her, I'm also stepping into the life of a child that does not have a father present.
Absolutely.
So it's also understanding that I'm not also committing myself to her, I'm also committing myself to him.
Yes.
And I'm very thankful that it's just cool how God works is everything is very intentional, and there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
And if that opportunity was, well, I mean, which is funny, me and Misha have kind of been mingling with each other for even prior to even us started dating.
Yeah.
But I tell her all the time, if I try to do this a year before we started, this would have been a disaster.
Right. Yeah.
This would have been a disaster. Even if I tried 2 months before this, this would have been a disaster. But I was able to. I mean, I make the joke, but like I said, I'm 25 now. But I was like, listen, 25-year-old, your brain fully develops. Now, really was able to awaken, and my frontal lobe really allowed me to be mature.
I can work.
I can work with this. But I really had to make a lot of mature decisions in my life, and I was like, okay, what do I want my life to look like?
Right.
What do I want my future to look like?
Yes.
You know, which is very real questions for someone who's 25. Like a lot of people in like 25, just, you know, have fun, hang out, travel the world, see everything, you know, just be on the move. And then when you get into your 30s, you know, settle down. And I was actually watching something. I was watching a sermon before. This dude I like watching a lot, his name's Derek Mack. He talks a lot about like biblical masculinity and what it means to be a man and stuff like that. And he's really great on that angle. And he's talking about like legacy and what true legacy is. And he's like, a lot of people think legacy is making a bunch of money or, you know, having a lot of fame or notoriety. But essentially what he went down to, he was like, a true legacy is, you know, starting a family, raising a family, having kids. He's like, you know, when people get that to the end of their life, they're not going to say, dang, you know, I wish I made more money. Dang, I wish I bought this car. Dang, I wish I traveled to this place. They're going to say, you know, dang, I wish I spent more time with these people. Yes. Or they're going to appreciate the people that are around their bedside at the end of end of their life. And I was like, dang, when I think of the end of my life, I want to be surrounded by a family of people, which means I also have to marry someone that I think can help produce and create that. And then that was one of the first kickers when I was like, okay, you know, I think Misha is definitely someone in my life that would definitely someone that I think will be perfect for that. Right. Just the woman she was, just not only spiritually, character-wise, just everything through and through. She was a great mother. Yes. And I'm like, I want to have a great mother for my kids. And I already see how she is with Jay-Z, and she's a phenomenal mother.
She is.
So I would sit in my room and I would just think of all these things. I'm like, okay, so I have to make this decision. I have to make this decision. And then I really made a decision, and really it was even from a point where it was like, I made a decision. I'm like, all right, I'm locked in. I'm doing this. And now I look at it, I'm like, bro, there's nothing else cooler than like being a dad. I say it all the time.
That's awesome.
Listen, there's a lot of cool things I want to do in life, a lot of dope stuff I want to do in life, but I don't think there's anything will ever be anything cooler than being a dad. Yeah. So I got locked into that, and it's cool. And like I said, no, I didn't really say it, but Jay-Z, he's just been very. He's very easy. He is. And he's very smart for his age. He's very, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, he's very wise for his age.
Right,
like, yeah. We sit with him and have very real conversations with him, and he comprehends. And that's what came in. It was like, at first, well, I'll let you cover your side, but at first it was a little difficult where she was like, not trying to not let me be the dad, but she was so used to being the dad that she just was on autopilit. And I remember I had to sit her down one time. I was like, listen, you're not the dad. Yeah. You don't, you did your job. Listen, 10 years, you were strong. Yeah. Now I was like, now it's time to retire. You get this, this mom now. Yeah. I was like, I'm here. I'm locked in. You do your role. I'm going to do my role. And she allowed me to do that. He's allowed me to do that. And it's honestly been like, pretty much perfect. So
it's so true.
Did you establish what those roles, because like people listening might be like, well, you know, the mom has an idea of what she thinks, and then the dad has an idea of what he thinks. Did you establish those personally between the two of you? Like, this is kind of how I think you're used to functioning, and this is how I would expect you to function. And then, you know, are there lines? Like, are there lines like, and we'll get to that. We'll let you answer your side of the question. But I guess, did you establish those roles prior to stepping into this?
I was pretty like not caught off guard when it was like, especially in premarital, which was great for us.
It's a huge
when
key.
we're talking with Pastor, and it was, and he even helped curate it to us because we weren't just married without kids. We were married with where there were going to be like quote unquote step kids. Right. So I was very much aware, like full dad, full father mode.
Right. Okay.
So like where we're at now is like, and obviously I'll let you touch that, but we kind of understand. You do this. There'll be times I gotta yell at her sometimes. I'll be like, don't do my son like that, or no, right? I'm gonna do this, like whether it be homework or just or whatever it is. But it's like we have a mutual, you know, understanding and things like that there.
That's good.
I think it's easier now because then I'm like, I can just sit back and like allow you to be dad. But at first it was definitely hard. So I was so used to just like you said, just me and Jay-Z. Right. Just for 10 years it's just been us. I've been doing everything. I think for us, I provide for us. So it's just like him coming in, I'm like, how do I just like let him do everything? Like I'm so used to doing everything for us, like just allowing him to lead. And I remember I was praying one day and God was like, this is not gonna go good if you don't just let him lead. Just let him lead. Like he's here, it's okay. You can trust him. Like it's fine. I'm like, okay. So that eventually I was like, oh, like this isn't bad. Like I can actually like just be, like he said, just be mom, and just be wife. And it's been honestly great.
That's awesome.
I don't have to be dad.
Yeah. And I think there probably is like a trust factor of, okay, I might trust you with me.
Yes.
But now I'm like testing the waters, like, because that's, you know,
that's my kid.
There's that transition from my kid to our child, and having that. I mean, and I know that that's a normal thing with, you know, and you'll find with the baby that you're gonna have, that's still normal. You know, even if it's like both of your children, sometimes like the mom will have a different viewpoint of like, well, I feel like it should go down like this.
Yes.
And the dad's like, well, I think it should go down like that.
Yeah.
You know, I have a daughter and I'm harder on her than he is on her. 100%. Like, I'll look at him and be like, are you really gonna let your little princess? You know, and then, you know, we have a bunch of sons, so for some reason I'm softer on them and he is not. You know, and he'll look at me, are you really gonna let your son, you know? And so you know, we have to get on the same page. And I think there's a lot of practice, and there's some situations that like you may encounter that you're like, oh, this hasn't happened yet. So here's this thing. And I think a key to that with any type of parenting is not discussing it in front of the child. Because your biggest asset is each other. You know, and that's something that we've had to practice, especially I feel like with moms. They're like, oh, you know, like, I don't know. I always like defend them. Even though like they clearly just need to be dealt with. Like, oh, I didn't really need it, you know. And he's, you know, so we've like made an agreement, like, okay, if you don't agree, and same with him, there's been some times that he hasn't agreed, you know, or maybe you walk into a situation when you start having multiple kids and, you know, you think you just go privately and tell the other person, because then you can work it out calmly together and you don't ruin, like when your child starts seeing, oh, they're not on the same page. So that means next time I can ask dad for this and I won't ask mom for this, but I know if I want this, I'll go ask my mom.
We're actually learning that right now.
We've definitely had to learn that, where it's like, okay, we have to be on the same page, and it doesn't mean we're always going to be in agreement. And I think that is like another big thing, is like the conclusion for everything won't be an agreement. It'll just be, all right, we're going to do this. I might not necessarily agree, but we'll stick with this. But we're always going to be on the same page. We're always going to be in unison, because kids are kids. You know, we're gonna listen. If I can get over our mom and dad's dad, and I'm gonna do it. And they're not trying to be bad about it, sometimes.
I just remember when I would ask my parents things. I remember I would ask my dad if I wanted to go anywhere. I would ask my dad because he would drive me anywhere. But if I wanted something like an item, I would ask my mother. She didn't care about the budget. So and I knew that. And I knew I would just, and I knew when to ask them, and I knew how to ask them. And then, my other sibling would just, she had no awareness at all. So anyways, but yeah, it's good to be on the same page. And I think the key, like with what you're saying, you keep saying, oh, it's been so great. It's been so easy. But you were like very on purpose.
Yes.
You didn't, oh yeah, let's get married. Let's do this. And you jump in, hey, here's your new dad. Like, up prior to it, you built relationship. You had family time once a week, prior to that. And I'm sure before you brought him into the picture on that level, you had greatly considered and prayed.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that can be a real roller coaster for kids. If you bring in someone that you haven't prayed on, that you don't know at all, then your child has this roller coaster happening where who's this new person? I don't trust them. I don't like them if he's anything like the last. And so they almost like build up walls continually. So I think that, and I know you, and like, you prayed beforehand.
For sure.
And then once he passed those certain things, and this could be for man or woman. You can't just let, all these different women in your life pray. And if this is a person, like you said, that I want to marry, then you're intentional on bringing them around. You said there was moments of jealousy and you guys kind of worked through that. You had conversations with each other and with him. And so I think that's really wise. And I think having a plan going into marriage when you're blending is super important.
So important.
Learning to trust each other, like I have a question. Have you had moments where he thinks something, but you're like, but I've been doing this?
Not really. It's so funny because, like, I don't know. I just always think, hey, but he's just, I don't know. He's just wise and everything. And just seeing being a dad now is, like, crazy. I always tell him, like, I know you've never done this before, but, like, you're, like, a phenomenal dad. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
It's crazy. I don't know. I'm never like, no, I've done this for so long. This is how. I'm like, no, listen, if you see a different perspective, I'm here for it. We're learning. I mean, he's 11. I've never raised an 11-year-old before. So
yes.
We're both learning.
And this honestly couldn't be any better timing. Cause
yes, that's
so
what I said.
Our boys are 14 and going to be 13. And I can tell you the transition that they start going in from 11 on is till about, well, I mean, I'm sure they transition after this too, but like they go from boy to young man. And that transition, there's a lot of different things that happen. And I know that they leaned heavily on my husband in that. So this is like very godly timing, just kind of like what you were talking about. Godly timing for you, but also for him. How, let's see. Oh, this is a good one. So you're used to being a mom, and this is part marriage, part parenting, but you're used to just being a mom. So how did you go from, and like what were those emotions with I'm a mom and I'm parenting, but now I'm also a wife, and biblically I'm supposed to put my husband first. How did you handle that with you, but also with him, so he didn't feel all of a sudden put to the side? Like how'd you deal with that?
It's funny because me and Buddy are very intentional with like conversations that we have, especially with Jazier. Because he is a person and he's a part of our lives.
Absolutely.
Like, it's very important. Especially, I mean, I know he's important to you, but he's very important to me. But just really having conversation with him, just making sure like I said, like, are you okay with this? Like, is everything okay? And like, I mean, Buddy's very intentional with everything that he does. And I think it's funny because like he didn't come and like bust in the door like, I'm here, this is who I am, like I'm gonna lead. It's like, like,
that's
he just
so
like
important.
Hung around and like chilled, and like he just got used to like Buddy's presence, and we kind of like explained like, okay, like he's gonna be a part of our lives forever, and like Jazier's just been like, oh, okay.
kind of like how you explain those roles. Like you had so communication, you're very intentional and a lot of communication.
A lot of, we always had great
times. That was one of the things I intentionally wanted to implement in the culture of our family, is that we will always communicate. Always. If you have a problem with someone, we're gonna be out and open. We're gonna talk about it. If there's something that needs to be talked about, we're gonna talk about it.
Right.
That's the number one thing I wanted to be. I don't want anyone to guess or assume how people are feeling, where people are feeling. It doesn't matter. If you have a problem, if you see something, you don't really agree with it, someone did something to you, you feel some type of way. I want you for there to always be space where you feel like you can go, whatever, be me to her, me to him to us, whatever it is, that you can go and you can have those type of conversations. So that was like a very big thing that we implemented.
And that was hard for me to hear.
Yeah, it's very hard because they don't not talk, they don't say nothing. I just be sitting there, I'm like, hey guy, how are you? Good.
We're just so used to just each other that just letting someone in talk to us is like, who are you?
But we talk about our
especially
feelings.
Our feelings now is now we're getting used to okay, it's okay to express ourselves and not just be to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Right. That's good. So you're kind of, you and him had a culture, and now that you're married, you're creating that new culture, but not in a forceful my way or the highway. Yeah. It's very intentional. There's communication. You're setting, this is what our family does.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things you've done really well, it seems, is tailoring it to him and his personality.
Yeah. So true.
You got to know him. You got to know, this is how he receives things. This is how I can speak to him. This is how I know, I don't know, this is an example. I don't know that, say he's mad. I'm not going to ask him right in that exact moment. I'm going to give him a minute. You're respecting him as a person and how he feels, and kind of creating what this new family looks like.
Right. Yeah.
Not just what you want and not just what you had.
Yeah. Because he honestly very much is very similar to how I was when I was his age.
Right.
So he reminds me in very areas to how sentimental he is, how he's very in tune with his emotions.
Right.
He's very very intelligent for his age. It has a different outlook on school. He's smart, but he don't like school, and I was the same way.
Yep.
I'm smart, but I hate school. Of those. Yeah. I just hate it so much.
Yeah.
So he very much remind me of myself, and a big question that when I was thinking about how to be intentional in not only building the culture of our family, but even building a relationship between us, and then also discipling him and leading him, is okay, what did I need when I was 11?
Right.
What if there was a person that came into my life, what would that person need, character-wise, trait-wise, how they spoke to me, how they talked to me? What would I need this person to need to help me grow, help me advance? So I try to always remember that and try to be that, because and it's hard sometimes, because you want to just come in and just whatever, do it or say whatever super type of way.
Right.
And it's also humbling, because when you do that, you are allowed to take yourself for a moment and be like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I did that. I remember one time, I forgot what I said. Oh, because we've been really trying to I think it was, we've been really trying to get him to learn all right, there's grown folk business and there's kids business.
Yes.
So we're really trying to get him to learn that. But he had said something, and I had said something. I forgot what it was. And it definitely, I did definitely raise my voice a little bit, and definitely was a little bit snippy, which and again, something that I'm learning to undo, because in my household that was normal, right? Yeah. That's just what you did, and you just got used to it, and that's just what happened.
Right.
But he's not used to that.
Right.
So it hurt his feelings.
Yes.
And he was upset. He had talked to her about it, and then I had came into the room, and it was a moment where we exercised, where we express how we feel, we communicate, and he said, when you did this, it made me feel this type of way. And I could have easily been like, well, I did this because you didn't, you did this, you weren't. But no, I said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
And next time I'll do it in a way better way. In a proper way. So it's also allowing myself to grow, because to help us kind of see what we want within our family, in the individual relationships amongst us, what we kind of want to see and be, reciprocated and all those other things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So last question, how do you handle discipline? Do you discipline, or is it solely, so I know some blended families, they keep the parent, like say if you brought a child into the relationship, you would discipline you, and you couldn't cross those lines. What do you do?
We don't really have to discipline.
It's crazy. I know we always. I know people are gonna watch this and be like, "Oh, they must have their most perfect kid." But I really tell you, if we could show you this videos, he is like, if you could create the easiest perfect kid, it would literally be him. But we did talk about this stuff, and we're like, if it ever had, at the age he is now, if it ever had to come to like a physical, like a little tap on the butt, she was like, I would do that. I would, but you don't have shoes. If you like, no, you want to move? Like, no, I'm good. You would never have to get. But I would definitely. There would definitely be like groundations. Like he's definitely been grounded before.
Right.
You know, you can't play your game, can't be on your phone. Right. And I think for him, but also the style for him is like, let him be bored and he'll learn. Like for this things, if you have him be bored, he will learn so quick.
He did.
Whatever it is.
No, he got grounded for like a week and was so bored. I'm like, I feel so bad. He's like, he's going to be okay. I'm like, no, look at him.
He was so bored. I forgot. He did something. I don't remember.
I think he lied about something.
Oh, yeah. He lied about something like brushing the teeth or something like that. Sorry, dude. We're just putting you on the spot in front of everyone. Get used to it.
Are you going to come smack your piece? You're going to say, how are you doing?
So he lied about something like that. And then I found out, and I said, okay, what's it? Well, we had sat him down. We talked to him. Why lying is not good. Why it's bad.
Right.
The repercussions of it. And with me trying to teach him is that I'm trying to teach him in the real world, when you'll get older. Yeah. You'll leave mom and dad's house. You'll be out on your own. You get to make your own choices. And when you don't follow the rules, there are consequences. Right. So I said, there are going to be consequences. I said, you're grounded for a week. I said, no game, no phone. I said, if you watch some on TV, it's only, Bible stuff, whatever it is. Yeah. And he was bored out of his. He was just laying in his bed. And she was like, oh, I feel bad. Oh my gosh. I'm like, no, it's good.
Were you super bored? Do you remember this? Was it awful?
You went out, because I said, listen, for me, when I would get grounded, I never forget those moments. Just sitting there and just bored out your mind. True. And he'd be solid from then. Yeah. We're made sure to like really have that conversation. Like, okay, this is what we'll do and stuff like that. That's good. It's never been gotten to the point where it had to be. We had to be physical,
right? Like that, but you did make agreements on. Yes. Okay, and that's a really important thing. You don't want to enter that without discussing it first. Like, are you allowed to ground it? If you do. Do a tap on the butt or whatever. Are you allowed to do that or no? And respect that decision in the moments. I think is really, really important for peace in the home and that continual unity. So what I love about kind of what I'm getting from you guys is you're just super intentional and you're really, really good at communicating. And I think that's huge. You like agreed on things before they happened. So big things, what did we talk about? We talked about discipline. Kind of just the culture of your home, I think is so wise to talk about. Like this is our new culture. Not, this is how it's always been. This is how we do things now. Like they're not expecting you, okay, now you have to conform to what mom and son have done. And you're not stepping in, well, I'm here now, so it's going to be all how I want. And I think that's really wise. And I think something that, blended families could really pull from is, this is our new family culture. This is like what we are going to do as a family. And, family dinners, and like if we're upset, this is what's going to happen. What's going to happen in your home when you're upset. So those are some really good things to talk about. And ultimately, like, you can tell that you were intentional and you prayed about it. Like you got the green light from the Holy Spirit. Like, yes, this is what he wants. Even if you get the green light from the Holy Spirit and he says, yes, this is the person, you go ahead, this is going to we still have to be intentional. We still have to exercise the fruit of the Spirit. We still have to have moments where we handle conflict well and we create that culture and intentionality. That's true. So, but I'm very thankful that you guys came on and
Thanks for having us.
For having us.
Yeah, explained it to our our people. I hope this helps. If you've been blended and maybe it hasn't been going so well, I hope these things have really helped and will bring peace and unity to your home. Have a great day.